everyone. I am highly frustrated because I've been taping the last two episodes on Spotify and somehow my mic on my headphones was muted. So hopefully I can go ahead and send people from Spotify over to YouTube because thankfully that has been recording. Jeepers creepers. I don't know. I get so annoyed. But anyway, thank you so much for coming back. And this segment of Each One Teach One, I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about credit because if you'll notice, everywhere you turn, somebody's trying to give you a credit card or some money. And you just need to be careful because what kills me, interests me and makes me so intrigued by the world that we live in is the way they do what they do when they do what they do. And that is that this is the exact same scenario, the same type shit was what happened during the Depression. If you don't know, and now you know. That's when credit cards, credit, all that crap started becoming a big thing. Now, prior to this whole COVID scenario, we know what credit was. We had credit or we didn't have credit. We had good credit, we had bad credit, or we had no credit, which was like bad credit. But now you may not have credit and you might be trying to get some credit and people are just giving you credit. Matter of fact, I was at the mall today earlier. I had ran to go get me some Mr. Popcorn, cheese and butter. Just had a hankering. And so I get out there and I'm passing by. The funny thing was I came in a door that I thought was the closest to where I was going, but it wasn't. It was pretty far down the lane. Anywho, as I'm like walking through the mall, I passed by this jewelry store called Paseo Jewelry. It looks really pretty. Um, they look to be a family that are internationally based, but yet live here now. So they have an Americanized company. Point is that I go past that one, and there was another jewelry store because you know how the malls are set up. You know, if it's the eatery, you have a lot of people that sell this and sell food and blah blah blah. But this was like the section where Zales and K Jeweler. And matter of fact, K Jeweler's doors were closed. No, 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 no. Oh, so cute. Anyway, so they all said no credit needed. So that's amazing to me, is it not? But you have to beware because a lot of these credit cards and things, they have like 400% interest, APRs, and 36.9% interest. That's high. That is extremely high. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about and maybe help you with and give you insight on is that, you know, now Credit Karma, and I have that app, I have Experian, I have Equifax, I have them all that I like to log into. And then I have a Capital One credit card. Everybody probably has one, but I have a credit wise through them, and they use Experian. And one thing that, couple of things during COVID, let's say for instance, you were not working and you had a car payment and you called and they deferred your car payment. Well, not only did they defer the car payment, they took it, they stopped reporting it to the repositories. And repositories is another name for credit bureau. They stopped reporting your credit to the repository. So once COVID was over, you went back to work, you started paying your car payment. You need to go back and see if your car payment is actually showing up on there. Now, I went on there and couldn't find mine months ago. And finally, I was like, look, I need a letter and I also need y'all to put that back on my credit because you didn't write me and they could get sued. See, this is a thing, and why all these lawsuits are popping up. And here in California, people don't play. They're looking for a reason to become rich And they'll sue somebody just because they draws was pink and they supposed to been yellow. Anywho, with all of that being said, the bottom line is it's so important that you pay attention to your credit file. So, like I said, Credit Karma is an easy one. It uses your credit profile to show your curated recommendations. So it'll say, "Oh, hey Bob, you can get this credit card for 50 cents. I mean, with the $500 credit limit or whatever. Plus you can see your approval odds." But you want to be careful because if you keep on applying for these things all willy-nilly, that goes against your credit as well because it shows it puts what they call inquiries on there, and too many inquiries will bring your score down, especially if they're over it. Like the more if you did 10 in one day, it counts as one. But if you do one every day for 10 days, that's 10. So you got to be careful. But the pros and cons of some of the things that are out there, like a lot of people believe in getting money fast, blowing money fast. We know about that, right? And with that, they go to these payday loans. And these are these short-term, high-interest loans that are typically used by people facing financial emergencies, like I said. So if you're you're strapped and you're trying to hurry up and it's like, oh, I got approved for $300. That $300 is soon to be 9, maybe 12, because it's like 400% interest on some of it. Okay. So while they can provide you that quick cash, they come with both pros and cons. And so of a payday loan could be that it's fast cash, you need it, it's here. They have a quick approval process. They often provide funds within a matter of hours or even the next business day. So that's one pro. There's no credit check. If you have issues with credit, then these payday lenders, they don't care. They don't perform a traditional credit check, but they do look to make sure that you don't have like checks, outstanding checks, or um, a bad checking account, because most of the time that's how they're getting their payment is through your checking account. So if you don't have a good checking account and good standing, that might be a con for you, but it is a pro for others who do. But also, you don't have to have any collateral. So you don't have to put your car up, you don't have to put your computer up, your color TV, none of that. They don't do any of those traditional like securities that most uh, finance companies do. So you don't need to provide that collateral to secure the money. Okay. Also, it's important if you are trying to get one of these loans that before you even think about getting one, you're going to be on a roller coaster ride. And I'll say that because they're payday loans. So when you get paid the next time, they're going to sweep your checking account, take the money out, and guess what? You're going to be up the creek without a paddle because maybe you don't have an extra $300 that you borrowed. But one thing for certain, two things for true, is that they're going to take that money. You're going to get in a position in some cases where you need it back. So guess what? You're going to go borrow it again. And at that point, you've established a rapport with them. So that's another pro. But it could be a con. It could be a con because with these loans, like I said, they're high interest rates. Payday loans have extremely annual percentage rates, APRs. And often they exceed 400%, people. So this can lead to a cycle of debt if the loan isn't repaid quickly. So if you pay it off, oh, come here. You can just sit in my lap if you're going to sit here. Good boy. There you go. Thank you. Good boy. So if you pay it off quickly, then it won't create that problem for you. But let's say you make a short repayment period. Now, most people that borrow the money usually required to repay the loan along with fees and interest. And they're going to make sure that they tell you what those are. But it's all being tabulated within just a few weeks. So if you was to get the money sooner than that, it'd be better to pay it off as soon as possible and then run for the hills. Because this is like a loan shark back in the day. But that short time frame, it can be a challenge for some people. And that's the whole purpose of why you're doing it in the first place, is because you didn't have the money, you couldn't get it from nobody, and you don't know when you could have gotten it. So you go into this debt cycle with this payday loan place. Because due to the high cost of so many things, some people find themselves in that cycle where they take out the new loan. Like I said, you pay it back, you go lend it back. You pay it back, you lend it back. Predatory lending. Some payday lenders, they engage in predatory practices, and that's taking advantage of you, knowing that you're vulnerable. And they may not fully disclose fees or terms, just leading to the unexpected costs, like I stated. And so, with that, this is that matte type of lip gloss that just is a stain, and I hate it. Just makes me feel like my lips are dry, but I need them. I need to feel moist. But anyway, so you don't want to get wrapped up in the predatory lending scenario. Limited loan amounts. Payday loans typically offer small amounts. You might need $1,000, but they only say, "Oh, we can only give you 150," because they're trying to basically establish your credit. And by the time you get to $1,000, you years in the making with them. But they might give you 150 or 300, and that's not nearly as much as you need. So you just, at the sight of money, say yes, and next thing you know, here you are paying off this loan. You're gonna pay $1,200 just for that back, and you didn't even get that. So you paying a huge APRs for these loans, and then you, with that limited amount, it's not sufficient enough to cover the financial emergency you had in the first place. Financial instability. Repaying on payday loans, it masks a lot of stuff, because there's other financial problems that you're actually exhibiting, and it makes it difficult to address the root cause of the financial instability. So you got to be careful, you guys. you know but it can impact your score. Maybe they didn't use your credit score to get the loan, but once you not get to the point where you don't want to pay it back, oh, they're gonna tell the repositories that you're defaulting. So it will and can create a problem. So just make sure that if payday loans can offer quick cash in some emergencies. However, they come with a huge risk and a substantially high costs. So it's imperative just to explore alternative sources uh, of funding, you know, like a personal loan from a bank or a credit union, um, or somewhere that you might be able to get a loan that is not going to cause you to work, be concerned that you dealing with this payday loan place and you can't pay them back next thing you know. So you just got to be careful, everybody. Don't just jump at it because you need the money. It's essential to, like I said, to explore it. If you decide to use a payday loan place, then you need to understand the terms and know exactly what your plan of action is going to be in paying that back and how soon, so you can not won't fall into another cycle of debt, because that's what will happen. Now, I have gotten into a phase where I DIY almost anything that I can. Do it yourself. Now, unfortunately, the disadvantage of that is you can tell sometimes. And as I get older, I get more tired and exhausted. So the commitment that I make to certain things, I don't have that. And, when it comes down to it, I am investing in my future, and I know that it's successful and it will happen. Everybody don't want you to do good, but it doesn't matter what anybody else wants. My investment in myself is important enough so that eventually, when I am able to have other people help me with certain things, I won't have to DIY it. But for now, these are the things that I'm doing, and I invest a lot of money in those things because I want to make sure that I can get where I need to get, because maybe I just want someone to hear me, whether it's my singing or my podcast or what have you. It is important for me to hopefully become successful. But when we're talking about the credit situation, my DIY remedy is I have I bought this little dry erase board off of Amazon, and it's about an 11 by 16 size uh, little dry erase board, and you can erase everything that month and then rewrite it the next month for the next month. And I find erasing and rewriting is better because, like this month of September, it only has 30 days, whereas October will have 31. So I'll have to move my little boxes. I don't have to move the boxes. The boxes are pre-done, but I have to move my writing one box forward. So with that being said, it's okay because as I do it, it also embeds in my mind, oh, on the 17th, I got to pay this and I got to pay this and I got to pay this. So basically it keeps me aware of what needs to be taken care of. And so I stay on top of my bills. So that dry erase board for the month of what's due and when it's due is in improving me. Even though my credit has been great, one of the things that I don't like and is my issue is utilization. And this is probably all of us. And so utilization means that, I had a $1,500 credit limit, and instead of me being within 30 to 35% of what it should, like, so in other words, I should only have spent 35%, 30% of that $1,500, and 30% is $300, basically. Yeah, roughly 15, yeah, 10, 15, yeah, about $300. So with that being said, if I have spent any more than that out of that $1,500, it's going to take me over my credit utilization. And unfortunately, if it takes me over that, then it's being reported because now it seems like they're reporting on a weekly basis instead of a 30-day basis. But it depends on the creditor because maybe the creditor that you're using is not concerned about that weekly. Maybe they're looking at that 30-day, whatever the situation is. But if you ask me, it appears that things have been harder now opposed to back during the Depression. It was like nobody really knew what was going on with it. They knew enough to get you, but maybe not enough to keep you. So at that time, they was doing things a little different. Now it's like, oh no, they're gonna take you through the ringer to make sure they give you this credit card because a lot of people couldn't pay them back during COVID, and they were scared too. And so now you got certain companies that are like, okay, well, they're going to give you the credit because basically they lost money too, and they're basically trying to regain it. So my point to you is this: is that don't think that just because somebody's offering credit, you're going to get credit. And like I said, be cognizant of when you apply for something, and just wait and see if you get approved. It's going to take weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, but it's better for you if you just wait. So, anyway, these are some things that are surefire ways that are some step by step actions that you can take to improve your credit score. And one is you want to check your credit report. Like I just said, you start out by hitting up the repositories. Let's say, for instance, you apply for this credit card and you got declined. That entitles you to a free credit report from each one of the bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, TransUnion is become the main one now. It used to be Equifax, and then Experian is touch and go. But I will let you in on a little secret. Now, depending on what you're applying for, a house, a car, whatever. If it's a house, that there's all these trade secrets they can use. So you want to be in touch with a realtor who has a broker or someone that can help get you where you need to be. But if you live in the South or the southern part of the world, East Coast, southern part, they typically have Equifax and TransUnion. TransUnion is based out of Pennsylvania. Equifax is in Atlanta, I believe. Experian is on the West Coast. So a lot of times people, especially companies out here in the Los Angeles or LA area, California area, they're a finance company, so they have money to give and they become a finance company. But maybe they don't spend a lot of money on their repositories, so they don't buy into all three of them. They just use Experian. And so with Experian, I have my highest rate because somehow years ago, as I was disputing something, um, they ended up wiping everything off of my repository. And so I things like after 10 years, things fall off. But I had cars that I had paid off. I'm always, I have good car credit. Anyway, so I had to go all the way through the motions again to get them to put stuff back on. I had to call each creditor and tell them to put this stuff back on my credit bureau, on my repository. So the DIY process is tedious and long, and very frustrating, but eventually you can get through it. But the main thing is you start out by obtaining a credit report from all three bureaus, and then you can get one free one per year as well, at annualcreditreport.com. The word annual, credit, and report all together.com. So again, annually, you can receive a free annual credit report at annualcreditreport.com. Now, also, you want to review your credit report. And when I say review it, it means exactly what I'm saying. If you review it, you're basically looking through it to make sure, okay, I paid this off back in such and such and such and such. Why is this still showing up? You know, let me call this place and find out this doctor bill has been paid off. Here's my receipt. Take your receipts, have your receipts, because a lot of these collection places, they sell your information to another collection place and they keep selling it and selling it and selling it. Now, there are ways that you can dispute these things and get them off of your credit report, because let's say, for instance, it's a hospital, XYZ hospital. They go out and there's a hospital bill. You had a baby, or you had a broken leg, and you didn't get all of that bill paid off. Or maybe, yeah, say you didn't get the bill paid off. So XYZ hospital goes to 123 credit collection agency and sells your bill to them. But because they did not get it in writing from you to be able to sell it to that 123 place, that 123 place has to remove it off of your repository report, because basically they do not have it in writing that they are able to um, uh, hold you responsible for that bill. Some FYI you got to know, and you got to do your homework and learn this stuff so that you can understand how it is and what it is what rights you have. Um, all right, Dash, come on now. So many crickets. What it is and what rights you have to in getting these things taken off of your repository, or not even be held against you at any cost. So that's something I learned. You need to carefully review it for errors, um, and unauthorized accounts. Any disputes or inaccuracies you find, you need to let them know immediately. So again, like I said, you are basically not being held liable for something that you did not do. Whether or not you have a few bills or a lot of bills, there comes a time where you have to pick and choose your battles, and paying your bills on time would be a crucial factor in your credit score, in your payment history. All my stuff is paid on time, but like I said, I have a utilization issue, so unfortunately it's still making my number lower than what I want it to be. So once I get them under the amount that I need them to be, and I'm looking into different ways to do that the best way, I usually have everything paid off before Christmas. And then when the year comes, FYI, I don't close it, the credit card, I leave them open. But this year I paid them off and I didn't cut them up. I re-spent them. But it's cool because sometimes, the type of work that I do, I'm a consultant. Um, And depending on my situation, I may or may not be on an assignment or be interested in going on an assignment, or whatever my situation is, I can live off my credit cards and budget myself to where I'm good. And then the Uber. So, But anyway, so review your your credit report carefully and make sure that there aren't any errors or discrepancies. Pay your bills on time and then reduce credit card balances. Like I'm saying, that is called utilization. Ideally, it's 30% of your limit on each card, because high credit utilization can negatively impact your score. And it didn't used to as much as it is now, because they're just using everything they can to throw people out of the running for certain things. I mean, and that's legit. Because the world is so populated, there are factors and different things. You just got to be on top of the game. You know what I'm saying? Um, Avoid opening too many accounts at once, because you open up multiple credit accounts in a short period of time. It can be seen as a risky attempt uh, to get too much credit, and it's risky behavior. And because this is considered risky behavior, someone's not going to want to take a chance on you. So you got to be careful. You don't want to do that either. Diversify your credit mix, meaning a mix of credit types like credit cards, installment loans can positively impact your credit score as long as you can manage them responsibly. So if you have this over here and this over there, you're good. Set up payment reminders. Like I said, I got this right here, and it sticks on the back of my front door. So I can't leave without seeing it, whether I'm taking the trash out or opening the door to get an Amazon box, which is daily. So ashamed. But I cross off my days and move on to the next one. And I put them on my phone too. Because see, my phone, what was happening on my phone was that I'm not in the mood. Sorry. Did not mean to cuss. See what I'm trying to say? See what I'm trying to say? Everything everyone gets tested by every little thing. No! I said no. Just lay down. No. No, no, no. No, no, no. But the main thing is just to make sure that when it comes down to this, that you are setting up your reminders, whether it's on your iPhone, your Droid, whatever type of bit device you have that will help you remember, or even if it's like I said, on my dry erase board. I love it. But most importantly, negotiate with creditors. If you're struggling with the payment and you contact the creditor to discuss, he is working my nerve. Oh, so now you want to sit in my lap again, and that's fine with me. But just make sure you keep your little hot cross buns here. So you set up these uh, payment arrangements. Make sure you stick to them. Just discuss options like lowering the interest or modify the payment. Sometimes you can defer your car payment. I know, like when there is inclement weather in certain cities and states, there are certain benefits that a creditor will provide because they know you live in an area that's been affected. So they'll basically say, okay, we'll do this. Now, it used to be back in the day there that they used to give you. It just depends. Um, they would give you a limit to how many deferments you could have. And so some is two, some is three, some don't have any, but they don't want you deferring it every month. So if you defer it, that means they take that payment and move it to the back of the loan. And then you won't pay for the month of September, but you'll pay October coming forward. So if you're going to do a deferment, make sure you do it as close to the payment date for that month as possible so that it can be skipped that month. Or you could do it before that month, that date, so that you have a little bit more time. But make sure you do it as close as possible, so that as soon as possible, so that you can project what you're going to do next. Okay. Now, also avoid collections and charge offs. Prevent accounts from going into collections or being charged off by working with the creditors to settle whatever the debt is. Because if they get charged off, then that goes into the negative status and you won't be able to get that off of there. You won't. It'll show up in one spot and you can get it off and it'll still show up because certain people can pull up different things from behind the scenes. So be aware of that. But most importantly, be patient, guys. Improving your score, it can take some time, especially if you have negative marks. But you got to continue to practice good um, habits, financial habits, and you also have to seek professional help if you need it, not just for your credit, but you know what I'm saying. If you get overwhelmed or you're unsure about how to proceed, consider working with a credit counseling agency. Now, I can't say that they work or don't work. It has never been my um, um, just to work with a financial planner or anybody like that because they cost. And if you're already having financial hardship, you know, you're going to be paying somebody. So you have to decide, pick and choose which one is better, you know. But for the most part, just remember that it might take several months to see a significant improvement in your credit score. So being patient is a huge issue if you're not patient. So you want to be patient as much as possible. But also keep in mind regular monitoring of your credit report, just to track your progress and just to ensure accuracy is going to be your best bet. Okay. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this segment of Each One Teach One, how to get and keep good credit up. Good deal. So next we'll be back with Rep Your City. We're going to Jamaica, y'all. Hey, come on back.